Hi, thanks for visiting VMC Theaters, where it's always a super day for the movies. Can I interest you in one of our new deep popcorn buckets?
Chet Vanderbilt, huh?
Yes. It's my totally legit and believable real name. Our noses haven't crossed in years. Heard he got clean. Having said that, I do still need my balls for stuff.
Compound B.
That's the title we went with? You getting to a point?
Okay, you know I can hear you when you say that, right? When you blow your load, is it just a puff of dust?
Bees?
Welcome back to Compound B, show about the boys. I'm Jamie G, no relation to Golden Geisha, but I am in fact a living legend. I'm back with the Soup and MM to talk about Though the Heavens Fall, Season 5, Episode 6 of The Boys. You ready to break down the anti-penultimate episode of the show?
Yeah, for sure, man. This was definitely a game changer right here. Welcome to the show. I am not a golden god, but, you know, few can
Only
be.
Dennis Reynolds is a golden god. Let's be clear about that.
The Golden God! I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
It's a 5-star man, we know that much.
But yeah, man, this is going to be a good one, dude. I mean, it was a good one, so I'm looking forward to diving in to the deep with the deep and the rest of the crew and you guys. So let's boogie, man.
All the way down to the bottom of the ocean where daddy keeps the oil, I guess. I am Magnum Mills. We are Compound B, a show about the boys, and we are doing this thing. Thank you for checking out our thing. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Find us wherever you get your pods and on YouTube, on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff. Same spot on the web, dudeswatchstuff.com. Nice and easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please press that thumb.
From here on out, there's going to be full spoilers for all aired episodes of The Boys, Gen V, and The Boys Diabolical. We do know that there are some possible leaks out there in the world, but we have not checked them out, and we will not be discussing any of them on this show. And if you don't know, now you know.
This is Though the Heavens Fall, Season 5, Episode 60, 38th overall episode of The Boys. Originally released May 6, 2026. Directed by Catriona Mackenzie. This is the second episode of The Boys she has directed after Season 4, Episode 7, The Insider. Written by David Reed. This is his 5th overall written by credit on the show, 3rd solo credit, also has a co-writer credit on the series finale. Jam-packed list of special guest stars this week. We have Jensen Ackles once again as Soldier Boy, Paul Reiser back as the Legend, and Aya Cash as Stormfront. Also have 2 notable guest stars here, Mason Dye as Bombsight and Noko Mori as Golden Geisha. The synopsis, as according to Vaught, is available now exclusively at VMC Theaters. Get the new hashtag Deep Popcorn Bucket for only $32.99. I don't know about you fellas, but man, $33 for a bucket of popcorn. Actually, no, that sounds terrible. I was wrong.
I do think that's basically one of the more realistic things about the show. I mean, if you've been to the movie theaters lately, popcorn's got to be $33.
Well, yeah, that's probably without popcorn in the bucket, if we're just being honest. That's just it's a collectible price. I'm not quite sure.
Man, they better hope they're putting extra butter and shit on there though, man, for like $35, dude. You know, I mean, the collectible bucket with the deep set, like I want one, man. If I can find, somebody's got to be out there selling.
Oh,
them,
they
dude.
have to be, if they actually exist. They would, again, if Amazon probably is very savvy with their cross promotion, so they probably should.
Yeah, I have to keep an eye
out. If they're playing the boys finale in theaters, they probably, if they did that and you went and they didn't have the deep popcorn bucket, how furious would you be? I mean, I would expect to pay out the nose for it, but at that point, you're already paying out the nose, so you're all in.
I don't know if I'd call it a full-on pump, but
you're probably committed at that point. It's not a CP, it's a PC.
Yeah, I feel like if I do find one like for sale somewhere online, it's going to be a lot more than $35 though. Yeah.
As are the beer savers. All the good things these days are only available. Computer memory, hard drives, gas. It's only available online and for double the usual list price.
That's how it goes. We are going to open things up here with our overall thoughts on the episode. Soup, let's start with you. What'd you think of this one? I mean, we only got 2 episodes left after this, so that's it for the boys. So was this a solid anti-penultimate episode for you? What do you think?
And I guess I mean, just this whole season, knowing that everyone's a countdown to the last one, so there's a lot of meat on the bone, a lot of stuff on the table there, and each episode is more and more stuff kind of is building, and some things are unraveling. I feel like more is going to unravel here in the last two, of course, but this episode here was a really good build up to the final two episodes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was kind of it started a little slower for me, but the obviously getting the legend in there just made this thing incredible. Having multiple storylines kind of come together also really helped. And then obviously the massive finish here at the end was just incredible. All the things we loved was in this, the great lines. Soldier Boy continues to be a quote factory. It's unbelievable. So overall, I thought this was a really, really solid anti-penultimate episode. I mean, they didn't feels like there's not a ton left for the penultimate, right? Like, where do they go from here, kind of thing. So really excited to see these next two.
Well, there are full spoilers, so I think after Homelander did that at the end of the episode, there's probably a couple of arenas that we could explore going forward. Well, like y'all, yes, the legend, just everything. Yes, please, I'd watch that spinoff, whatever you want to do. Paul Reisner giving me vibes. Remember, everyone forgets him. Like he got to start back in Alien, back in Beverly Hills Cop. Was kind of this likable but sleazy dude, and he plays it so well here. I think now a lot of people just remember him. What was it from Mad About You or whatever, where it's kind of more kind of middle of the road comedy. And no, Paul Reiser can be like really, really funny. So I think this was just excellent casting. It's a fair bit different than the legend is in the comics, but honestly, that's fine. The legend as is in the comics really wouldn't be nearly as fun of a character, and he's literally like tied to comics. He lives in the basement of a comic store. It's a little bit too meta. So I think all of that was excellent. I'm not a fan of the resolution of the noir storyline. They've been building that one up a lot, so that one for me was probably a bit of a miss. I get why they did what they did, and obviously, Chase Crawford's just been absolutely Chase Crawford's been killing it as the Deep for a long time. I know they kind of want to give him a big finish, but that was a little bit of just like, oh man, like I really thought we were going to go somewhere with that. Perhaps the storyline will continue. He was supposed to be healed by Homelander, but overall, again, a lot of things I did like. The old soups were great, but some of the actual logistics here, I'm starting to get a little bit worried. Not that they're not going to land the plane, but I think maybe there's going to be more dangling storylines than we would have thought. I mean, going into the season, would you really thought, oh, we're going to be 6 episodes in? We haven't seen anyone from Gen V yet, like barely a mention here, given how much that season kind of built them up to be big. Jamie G, what do you think? A scale of one, you're not worried at all that they're going to land the plane. 10, you're terrified they're not going to land the plane. Where are you at right now? I'm going to say I'm at like, I'm kind of right in the middle here. I'm going to say I'm a 5. Like I think they can land it, but I'm not as sure as I was. How are you feeling about them landing the plane here after what we've seen through 6 episodes with only 2 left?
I'm going to be a little bit higher than you. I'm probably a 7.5 to 8 range here. We'll just call it 7.5. I think they can. I think they will. It may not be the way we want. It may not include all of the things we would like, but I think they're making a choice and a conscious choice here to give us everything with the characters that are in the boys. Yeah, it would be one thing if Gen V was going to go on. I think having it be announced like mid-season here that it's not going on almost hurts us a little bit more because then you feel like, well, I kind of need resolution with that. What I don't want to have happen is like, you know, they come in the last scene of the series of the show and then that's it, right? That would just feel cheap. I'm with you on the noir thing. They built that up quite a bit. That felt cheap. I'm hoping that gets delivered on next episode when they go to, deal with the whole, healing him and everything. So there's still more to come on that. The jury's out, but to answer your question, I'm a 7.5 that they can land this thing and they will.
I think you've talked me up from a 5 to a 6. I'm a little more optimistic after that. Soup, how you feel, man? Of them landing the plane, like 1, we're definitely crashing. 10, it's a flawless landing at the Olympics, the triple axel or whatever. Scale 1 to 10, how confident are you in the show's going to land the plane as far as the ending?
Pretty confident. I'm as confused, if not more confused, than I have been every season leading up to this one. At this point in the season, because like, what can they possibly, I mean, but that's what you like about the show is the questions and always the surprises that get thrown at you. That's a reason why I like it. One of many. reasons. But yeah, I'm pretty confident they're going to find a way to land this thing, man. Like, with the wheels. So with the
So
wheels.
you don't even have to ask any, do any of the passengers have, experience flying planes or anything like that? We're good. We're, no passenger 57, no airplane situation. You're like a
It might be a
7.
bit of an airplane. It's already kind of an airplane situation, a little turbulence.
Well, if you told me they could somehow get Leslie Nielsen, that's not possible in this day and age. But my hopes and dreams would definitely rise up a little bit. But yeah,
Surely you
again,
can't be
just
serious.
yeah, I'm just yeah, just a hospital. It's a building with a lot of people. But that's sick people. But that's not what we're talking about right now. Yeah, it's very, very, very hopeful that they can land the plane here still, but I'm starting to worry that, there's going to maybe be a few plates spinning here when the thing ends that we would have liked to have had a little bit of resolution on.
It almost seems like it's going to be hard for them to wrap everything up at this point, but
Yeah,
I
do the
think,
math. We don't have that much time left, maybe 130 minutes. You figure they're probably gonna have like a 30-minute denouement. Like, so yeah, there's not a lot of time left. It is going quick as life did. We're almost like it's gonna be mid-May before you know it. It's gonna be June, the year's half over. Have you done your Christmas shopping yet?
I mean, it's flying by. We've established that, and there's a lot to pack in here. Let's jump into this thing. Let's dive deep into the episode here with the 7.
We're going to go through the biggest 7 talking points of the episode from 7 down to number 1. At number 7, we're going to talk about the little bit we get here from Huey and Annie. They get to interact with the O-Father. I have to say that the O-Father has grown on me, not trying to make a pun here. I think Daveed Diggs understands the assignment. He's leaning into this. I'm maybe a little bit disappointed. It doesn't seem that he is influencing Homelander like I was theorizing early in the season, but he seems kind of powerful with his sonic scream thing. It's a little bit interesting. You're not sure if he's supposed to be really a true believer or not, or if he believes in Homelander, or if he just believes in, getting his money back. And Jamie G, what do you think about the O-Father from where he was introduced to now? Do you like the character? It seems like he's going to obviously play a fairly big role in the final 2 episodes. Do you think he's earned it?
I don't know. Every episode we're getting a little bit more, which I like. I mean, obviously the scene with Ashley was pretty awesome a couple episodes back, and now we get him finally using his power, which was pretty cool too, with the sonic scream and everything. But there's been a lot of other. The only counterpoint I'll make here is virtually every episode they've brought in a pretty cool like alternate soup that's not part of the main cast that we hadn't seen before, and they've got pretty cool powers, right? And then like they die, like that episode. And so we just had, so it's like kind of like, were any of those more worthy? I don't know. And that's kind of my only hesitation with that. I mean, he's doing a good job. It ties into the whole thing with him, Homelander ascending to God and everything. I get that, and I think that's just like the storyline's kind of taking it that way. But man, it feels like they could have did a lot with some of these other guys that just made a quick cameo and then died.
Fair enough. And Soup, how are you feeling about the O-Father now?
Not sure. I'm all mixed up and I don't know what to do. I'm not sure on what side he's really on either, to be in agreement with that. So yeah, I mean, interesting character. And he has been around, like he's pretty much popped up in almost every episode this season, I think, even for just a minute or so. Maybe there might have been one without him in there or whatever, but he's been around. So character's continuing to grow, and yeah, I think we'll see him for the duration, at least. I mean, obviously next episode we'll see him. So
Man, I came out of that with a 311, and I think accounting crows. I've been hanging around. There's a lot of references in there, Soup. Jeez.
oh man.
Hey, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta pack them in. We're running out of show here. I'm not a huge fan of when, the show or any show in general kind of introduces in the final season, like, oh, here is the last boss. It can be done, in a way that's
Yeah.
not bad. Like Jamie G. would know, like bringing in like Sam Elliott in the final season of Justified. Like he's great, but there wasn't really any, build up to it. But that show was kind of built on seasonal villains. This show has done that a little bit. And I think the old father is in an interesting spot now where originally I thought he had to be using his powers to influence Homelander. Then I thought he was just kind of a dummy. And now I feel like maybe he's more savvy than we think. Maybe he's decently powerful, whatever. He's at least as powerful as the Deep, you got to say at this point. And, he kind of knows what he's doing. He knows how to manipulate Homelander. You know how huge that can be. We see the legend maybe do something similar here. Maybe there's a certain way you should handle these people, treating them more as talent, if you want to call it that, as opposed to just being corporate assets or whatever. So, I think there's a lot of interesting places you can go with the O Father.
Was it surprising to you that like he straight up dominated Annie? Because at times
Yeah,
we've
I'm
seen
not
his
sure.
powers
Again, one of my
be,
biggest beefs with this episode is the power level is so inconsistent. Like, I just
yeah.
want to kind of have a little bit more idea of who can do what and how they die. We'll talk about when we get into it a little bit more, but I just wish there was more consistency on that front.
Yeah.
How about Huey and Annie overall here? We get a scene we saw a little bit from in the trailer where they're laying on the car. I thought it was nice. It just feels to me like their characters are kind of stuck in a holding pattern until we get to the big finish or whatever you want to call it there. But I did like that they gave Annie a couple of good lines. Her joint with the O Father, I thought was pretty solid here. Couple of zingers here. So, Huey got to do some tech support. And Jamie G, you play poker. Did you like the bluff that Huey ran here? Did you believe that? So, what do you think of Huey and Annie here? And do you think Huey realistically sold that bluff to the O Father? Or do you think O Father was just like, he didn't even want to call him on it? He was just fine with walking away.
I liked his bluff. I don't know the true extent of O-Father's powers to know if he could hear his heartbeat or do any of the other things some of these other soups can do. So I don't really know. If people at the poker table could hear my heartbeat when I'm bluffing, I probably wouldn't have as successful bluffs as many that I do. So I think that's a big deal, right? Because it's a natural thing. You get excited. I liked his bluff here. I thought he handled it really well. He didn't blink, and that's what you got to do when you make a big bluff. So. I mean, worst case scenario here, he didn't believe him, but just didn't want to die, and that worked too. So, but if he believed him, then that creates maybe a more leverage down the road.
What do you think, Soup? Did Huey run kind of a successful bluff here? And, anything you'd like to talk about with him and Annie here? They don't get a lot to do, but they do point out a fair amount of cloud dicks.
Look, it's Big Bird eating a dick.
And how about the O Father? Like, do you think Huey sold that bluff, or do you think O Father didn't need to call him on it?
50-50 on that one, man. That could really be either way. Maybe he did believe him, maybe he didn't, and was just like, fuck it, it ain't worth it, and I'm just gonna go and see what Homelander wants me to do about this shit.
The interesting thing to me that makes me lean maybe he did believe him was because with all the power he was demonstrating, I mean, completely owning Annie here, dude. Like she had no chance again against him to the point where Huey had to come out and actually save her with the last ditch effort. That tells me he could have tried to do a power move with Huey to get that from him,
Yeah.
right? Like he could have tried to do something to take it and then kill them both. So to me, I think that I'm leaning he kind of believed him.
I think it's a fair take on it. And like the Soup said, why even, you don't necessarily need to take that chance. In here, it's funny, there's a lot of religious iconography here. You have the Homelander statue, kind of the golden calf. And again, we don't want to be totally political, but it just so happened that this week, like days after this, they unveiled a golden statue of Donald Trump, where literally a religious leader felt the need to release a statement saying that this is not a golden calf situation. JVG, do you think this is like, is it too much? Like, do you like that it's hitting so close to home, or is this like
It's
almost too
crazy to
close?
me because if this was a reality show that was filmed every week based on things happening in the world events, you'd be like, okay, I can kind of get this. But the fact that they did this a year ago, probably when they wrote it,
Written 2 years
produced
ago,
it,
filmed a year ago. So
right?
yeah, there's not a lot of.
And then it's matching up so crazy in the current timeline. I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. I mean, what are the chances? There's probably like a poly market bet out there. Like, all right, when they unveil the Homelander gold statue, there'll be a gold statue unveiled at the same time. I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't even know what to say. It just, uh,
Super, what's a bigger affront here? You have the big Homelander golden statue or the movie statue from Dogma? The
Oh
golden
shit,
movie.
yeah. I don't know, man. The movie might be
I mean, you haven't asked Loki, it'd be movie, but
yeah, it depends on who you're asking, I guess, man. Either way. What is it that they say? There's a saying about the statues of gold or some shit. I don't know.
But again, it lands close to home. I think this is fine. Again, I'm pretty sure Huey and Annie are going to have a lot to do in the end game, so it's okay that they kind of spin their wheels a little bit here. So that was number 7 of the 7. Let's move on to number 6. Talk about the rest of the buys here. I think one of the biggest themes throughout the episode was the idea that MM is more and more like Butcher, right? The legend calls him out on it a couple of times. Kamiko calls him out, Geisha calls him out, Sage calls him out. Like everyone's calling out MM. Like, dude, are you just this hardcore? They've been kind of playing with this all season. What do you think, Soup? Do you like this? Do you think they're setting up the idea that MM is now going to kind of maybe heed the call and turn away from Butcher? Where do you think they're going with this, and do you like it?
I don't know. It could be he goes full on butcher mode. He seems to be digging it right now.
Yeah, I mean, when he injected that the whatever he put into Geisha's IV, like he looked like he was enjoying it. Jamie G, what do you think? How do you feel about what they're doing with MM here? Do you think he's going to kind of, stay on Team Butcher? Do you think he's going to jump off the bus? What do you think they're doing here? Do you like it?
Yeah, I like that there's a question around it. We've seen a lot of kind of flip-flopping. I know we'll get to Sage here in a little bit, but we've seen a lot of people kind of like flip-flopping motives. It wouldn't shock me to see him, flip-flop back at the last minute here. I like the setup though.
I think that's right on. I will say I do dock this episode. We're not to our grades yet, but it does hurt a little bit that Frenchie was able to just kind of recreate the virus. They kind of yada yada it, and just all of a sudden, boom, the virus is back. I did not love that. And then Huey and Annie have to sneak into a church, and it just so happens to be, the church where she spent most of her youth, which they can also apparently drive to. They're very conveniently stationed where they are, where they can just drive to everything in about, a couple hours or whatever. So I'm not wild about some of those kind of, let's just call them like shortcuts that the writers have used. We get the idea throughout the episode that Kamiko doesn't, really want to hurt anybody, at least any more than she has to. I'm kind of okay with that arc. I really enjoyed her interactions, both with the legend and Golden Geisha. Jamie G, what do you think about Kamiko in this episode? Now that she's been able to talk, she's been kind of like a one-liner delivery system more than a character. I think they kind of split the difference nicely here, where she still had some fun lines, but it felt like she interacted with the characters a little bit better. Am I nuts here? Or do you feel the same way?
No, I felt the same way. And it also, I like that they're going back to some of the serious moments with Frenchie, doing it in sign language, giving her a little bit of that back. Frenchie really didn't have a lot to do this episode. So it was nice to kind of use Golden Geisha and Kamiko as a way to kind of get more of a understanding of what's going on with Frenchie and Kamiko from a relationship standpoint and an understanding standpoint. There was a lot of doubts in the last episode or so about where they're going to be from a relationship standpoint. I thought this kind of buttoned it up a little bit with, hey, now there's a little bit of an understanding. And it was kind of cool because it was just a different aspect of this whole we'll live forever and watch the people we love die versus you have to watch me die now. Kind of an interesting concept there. I liked what they did with it.
Not gonna lie, I never thought when they were talking about making a vaccine from the V1, I never considered that they could live forever. But the way they talk about it here, that seems to be like almost a given. Soup, do you like the way they went about this here? It's kind of not perfect, but instead of, it's not necessarily we don't want the vaccine, but if the vaccine is going to make us live forever, we don't want to, we want to make the decision that Golden Geisha made, not the decision that Bombsite is trying to get her to make. Did you like the way that they kind of built that parallel out to make it, I guess, okay that, our girls might not get vaccinated?
Living forever is not something, I mean, people think, oh, you want to live forever, but do you really? So I mean, there's a lot of good points there that they made that they bring up, especially through the golden one and Kamiko, when questioning, should somebody why would somebody even want to live forever, But I mean, yeah, so it's definitely I think the delivery on that was cool, and the character realization of like the just taking it in the potential of living forever, and then having second thoughts on it is, I think, very normal, and should be something that you have to think about, not just dive into because like, oh cool, I get to live forever, what I mean, but do you really want to? Will you want to in 100 years? Will you want to in 200 years or 5?
I mean, ideally, I like to just be like, okay, give me the option, and then I'll check out when I can. I think that would be ideal, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's more of a Hotel California situation where you are not given the choice. Overall, I think after last episode, I was pretty convinced, even if Frenchie and Camilo lived, that maybe there's not a future together. after this episode, the odds are up here. I'm going with like, let's call it like, 2/3, 66, 34, whatever you want to call it, that if Frenchie and Kimiko survive, they will remain together. Jamie G, where are you at? Give me odds. Frenchie and Kimiko remain together if they both survive the events of the show.
95%. They will their love is too it's Princess and the Bride type love, dude. Like this is just it's as you wish, man. Like this is not gonna
Princess and the Bride, dude.
they can't they can't be apart, man. That's I
It's
just
the
I
Jake
gotta
and the
believe.
Fat Man spinoff. We're all waiting for. And Soup, what do you think here? What are the odds Frenchie and Kimiko remain together, assuming they both live and survive the events of the final two episodes?
Yeah, I think they make it out. They stay together, man. Yeah.
All right, we
That's what
like
I would
them
like to
crazy
see, but
kids.
you never know. But yeah, I mean, I think so. I like 90. I'm right there around the high 97, 98%. Like it would take something fucked up to, or maybe they just are like in the last episode. Cool, we made it. We're peacing out. Like I doubt it.
We'll see. Hopefully, it's not a final destination situation. Let's move on to number five of the seven and go down to a place I didn't know we would visit, Vought Village. And I think this is kind of cool, right? We got Gen V. It was the younger soups, the college kids. Here we get the old soups. What do you think, fellas? If there was going to be, a different version of Gen V, we saw the college age kids. Would you like something like this? Do you want like a Golden Girls type of soup situation show? Jamie G, if there was going to be another show kind of set in this universe, kind of something weird like this, a different, section of soups or something, what would you like to see?
I got a couple here, man. I was thinking about this and I was like, how cool would it be to have like a straight up like soups that have gotten addicted to like drugs and alcohol that soups take and you're in like an AA rehab place and they're all messed up, man. I thought that would be kind of fun. I also would like if think like Harry Potter, how they have like their own individual sport. Imagine if there was a soup professional sports league and we got to go inside that. I thought that was would be just incredible. And then last but not least, just because it sounds fun, how about like a soups in space, like a Spaceballs meets soup, man? Like that would be kind of cool.
I mean, Soups in Space instantly has a good title.
It
I would say
does.
give me something like give me just like a Cheers situation. Literally just like kind of like a bar type sitcom where Soups come to hang out after work. I think there would be just a lot of fun territory that you could mine for that one. In Soup, if there was going to be a soup restaurant show, like something set around soups in a restaurant, like what do you think it would be? Would you want it to be soups that dine at restaurants, soups that run a restaurant? What do you think would be the most fun?
I think a restaurant run by soups would be fucking awesome, dude. Like all kinds of cool little powers you can do to like cook and wait tables and shit. Like I think that'd be a really cool thing to tap into, man.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, right? Like the server can just, like just heat stuff at the table with their hands or
Yeah,
something
dude,
like
it's
that.
like
There's a lot of ways
spatula,
you go
like
with that.
you could have the guy with like 7 arms doing saute pans and shit, like just killing it, dude. Like somebody flipping burgers with their dick and shit, like anything crazy, man. I think
Well, they wouldn't tell you.
nah, you put a fucking rubber on it, dude. We got
Yeah,
the
I guess you
gloves.
could. I don't know if there's enough rubbers in the world, but we'd have to find that out later. You'd have to ask Golden Geisha about that one. So, a lot of fun here. Like I'm always a sucker for the old timey stuff. You had the old timey like TV show with Engine number nine. That was fun, dude. The ad that Bombsite did for Vought brand weight control tablets. It was basically meth. Like have this, with breakfast, or better yet, have this instead of breakfast. Literally an ad being like, here, please take methamphetamine instead of eating one of your 3 squares of the day. Like, go ahead and do that. So all of that was really fun. Obviously, the bit when our guys have to go up against the old soups was pretty fantastic. I don't think it's ageist or anything, but the idea that you had the older lady soup who had the firepower, her name was Hot Flash. I thought that was like maybe it's a little bit like too on the nose, but I
Was that always
definitely
their
chuckled
name?
at it.
Was that her
That's what I
name?
mean, right? Like it was that it did it just become and then Big Chief Apache there. I was never quite sure what his power was other than Tomahawk, but Tomahawk's a pretty cool power. And then, dude, the obvious one, the dude with the balls power, basically the elastic balls. They don't even give him a name. He was just like an elderly man. But dude, the elderly man, it was like Pearl Jam, right? Like
Old
elderly
guy
woman
balls.
behind a counter in a small
Yeah,
town. This was like
you could have
elderly
just
soup
balls.
with elastic balls and Vaught Village, in a small town.
It was a real weapon though, dude. Like this was a, I mean,
Dude, when
you
he
could
picked
do
that shit up and started whipping it around and shit, man,
that
like,
was
it hurts.
that was a real weapon. Like you could have caused some damage.
Dude, if you get hit in the balls with something, like I would never fucking whack somebody super hard with my nutsack, even if I could fucking stretch it out like that. You know how much it hurts to get hit in the nuts?
Yeah,
Imagine
a
whacking
lot.
somebody with a fucking with your set of balls, dude. I mean, they got to be made out of steel. They're
Well,
brass.
or I don't know, or maybe back in the 90s, you had 50 cents, you went to the grocery store and you got yourself a pair of Super Balls.
Yeah, it could be.
They were
Dude,
tough.
I just love the scene when he like comes in and looks and you see him on the ground and it's all tangled up and everything. It's just
Yeah,
that one
Frenchie's
was
double take. I can't
absolutely
decide. That's
hysterical.
in there for my double name. I'm not sure which one, either when they first drop or when Frenchie kind of comes in and just kind of like literally does a double take.
Yeah, his reaction was fucking hilarious, dude.
As
Very.
was when they first dropped too, Butcher looks at MM like this one's all you, just because he had to deal with love sausage. I thought that was just again, this is a fun little bit here. It's a little bit of a sideshow, but this is really kind of the vibe that the boys had in the comics. There was a lot of this, like this is the kind of thing they did more often. So I thought this was really a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, tons of fun. I love this, and it was just a cool setting. And again, anytime they bring in like soups with weird superpowers, that would be a cool spinoff. Just like the weirdest superpowers you could possibly think of, and then you just do something with it. That has been a ton of fun. This was cool. This was a cool, but it makes sense too, though. Where do soups go when they get old, man? Right? Like we all go
And what Jamie
somewhere.
G is saying, watch the boys Diabolical season one
Yeah.
because they did do a little bit of that. So yeah, like just how about Diabolical season two? Let's do that. We get a
Good.
little bit of that in there. I
Been
think that's
wanting
the
to
way
dive
to
off
go.
season two for a while now, man. We've always been wanting a season two, man. Like,
It cannot be that expensive. We have to be able to make it happen. It's not number two of the seven. Let's move on to number four, though, and talk about the Deep and Noir. Noir 2. This has been building for a minute. We thought it was coming to a head in the previous episode, but then there's a whole pipeline bit, which is very, very funny. And Soup, what do you think was funnier when Deep is kind of confronted, like, oh no, there's no more Firecracker. They want to do the thing. What was funnier when Deep is like, "Oh, where did Firecracker go? Orlando?" Or when he's trying to tell Homelander, like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the boat. I'm with you," or whatever, and he can't like quite spit it out. Like, which of those was funnier to you?
I mean, he loves boats, you know.
Love
I think the
boats.
reaction to that firecracker was a little bit maybe a little just a touch better, you know.
What do you think, Jamie G? I mean, because it did take me like Orlando. What are you, Orlando? Oh,
Yeah.
almost dice-ish.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was funny. I mean, it's just another thing in here that made me laugh.
Well, and then Sage comes up right in the midst of that scene, and she wants Deep to help her, take care of the protesters, and he means like in a Sopranos way, like, "Oh, you want me to take care of the protesters?" And it's like, "Oh no, just they shoot a PSA." That cracked me up, dude, because I guess that's just I'm trying to show how both dumb and all in the Deep is, but it totally worked for me.
Yeah, another good deep moment right there.
And you talk about an Alanis alert, and they do that whole Vought Petroleum man, which with the Deep, which was pretty incredible, way over the top. And they don't cut right to it, but then just the Deep covered in oil. And then he goes up to the
Yeah.
fish and Jeremy, I believe. And this is I think it's a common trope here, but he goes up, Jeremy, Jeremy's dying, we know it was you, Kevin. We knew it was you. I'm thinking that's Godfather too, Michael and Fredo, like I knew it was you in Cuba there. Jamie G, do you think they were going for a specific reference here? Do you think Deep is in trouble with the fish folk? What do you think's going on here?
I think Deep is in trouble with the fish folk, and I think he's now out of places to go, right? He's in trouble with Homelander. His security blanket would have just been go and live deep sea. Now I'm not so sure he can anymore. That was a huge critical blow that Noir gave him there. I wanted to say Pinot Noir because I want to drink wine right now, but it was a big blow. And I think he's in trouble, man, down under.
Well, I'm not sure if Big Blow will be the B in the Compound B this episode. Stick around to the end to find out. Soup, what do you think here? What do you think about the Deep here, kind of the whole, the pipeline bit here?
I think I mean, dude, I think he's in deep shit. You know, the deep's in deep shit, man. You know, that's got to be bad for it's definitely he's not going to be welcome back in the community up there. I'm in my head right now thinking, well, maybe if he goes into like, let's say one of the Great Lakes or something, did word get in there already? Because like it's not like the fish have internet or anything, but who knows? Maybe they have telepathy. So
They're gonna be like, you're not
They
even
have the
from the
fisher
park.
net, the
Yeah,
fisher net, dude.
you're not even from the lake, man.
You're not even from the lake. Uh,
That is not bad there. I mean, the visual of the deep covered in oil was pretty great. The idea he couldn't breathe until his gills were cleared. So I mean, that's all fine and dandy. And then the reveal that Noir flew to Alaska, went down to the pipeline, just punched a hole in it. It was really easy. It was really poorly made. That
yeah.
line absolutely cracked me up. But dude, the idea that Deep could just kind of like kill Noir that easily, shove a knife kind of up through his chin there. I mean, this is the same Noir last season that MM hit with a Gatling gun. And remember when he had narcolepsy? Like that was the thing. He had narcolepsy. Like that's never come up again since that season. This just bothered me a little bit. I thought they were going to go further with this. I don't mind that Deep killed him. I think that the motivation was certainly there. You know, Deep was very, very bothered about the death of all them fishes. Soup, what do you think about this one? Do you think this was a fair way to go out for Noir? Do you think this was, maybe not the optimal death here?
Well, we've seen Noir get killed twice now, but I think I don't know that he 100% that killed him. I
Ooh,
mean, I don't know.
interesting. Okay, so Noir can still be out there. I like that
I
take.
think so, because dude, what if he has like, so, I mean, I wouldn't, if I were Deep, I would be like, well, maybe I should double tap and make sure he's fucking really dead. He has a suit.
Well, that
Yeah,
would be great considering he was supposed to do like the get healed, like rise from the dead thing for Homelander. If he
yeah. And
actually
actually,
did
dude,
it,
if you
that would be
stab
pretty
somebody up
solid.
through the chin like this, like I feel like people might have piercings through the bottom of their shit. I don't know. I don't know if that would kill
Yeah, I don't
somebody.
know if that would pierce the brain. I don't know if that was, again, we,
And it
we
wasn't
don't
that
know
big of a
what the
knife, man. I mean, that was only about a three
I,
incher, I
I
think.
wasn't sure if you got him in the neck there near the jug.
Maybe if he catch it, I mean, if he catch the right
There's a
one,
lot of blood. It was
yeah.
not good, but they're soups. I mean, we've seen them live through so much stuff. That's the kind of thing I mean. There's no guarantee that. I mean, I'm guessing he's dead, but I don't know. What do you think, Jamie G? Did this was it worth it for you here? Was the juice worth the squeeze?
Not yet, but if it gets a huge mass, if they deliver on kind of what the plan was for Noir here with the, being healed and he flies and all that, they figure out a way to deliver that. And maybe that's the Deep's big moment where he's got to choose, and maybe he dies. Like there's a way they could save this, but where it stands today, no.
What about this? What about this where we finally get to see Marie Moreau and she heals Noir?
Yeah, I mean that is plausible as heck. I mean, no doubt about it.
If that brings, I kind of like Noir. If he came over to the boys, I mean, he can fly. Like we could use that
Yeah.
as a flyer. So I suppose I would be there for it. I certainly wouldn't be against it. I think overall, it makes sense where the deep went with this. It felt like they were building up Noir to be something bigger than this. It felt like he was more powerful. How often he's like, I can fly, I can fly, I can do all this. So maybe it's just a pure on Alanis alert that he is that easy to kill. But I would have liked it to be maybe a little bit deeper than that. So
Well, and the fact that he couldn't fight back, like he was just getting strangled by what, like a mic cord? Like, come on, dude. You're Noir. Like you remember how deadly he was in like season one, where like he was on the roof of the house and everything. I mean, like he's
yeah,
Noir,
when
dude.
he's
Like,
talking Butcher and them, yeah, in season two,
yeah,
and
like
bring
come
up
on,
season.
dude. Like he was supposed to be like the crazy, can't mess with him, kung
And he
fu,
couldn't fly, and
freaking
that dude was got a half brain dead. Like this is Noir too, who theoretically, we don't know his, but he is, at least more competent.
yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit like, come on, really? It felt cheap. Felt cheap.
Yeah, I was hoping for more. I think we could put it that way. Let's move on to number three and talk about our girl, OG Ashley and Sage. Talk about feeling cheap. We've been kind of waiting for a while here to see how this was going to play out. And when the episode first started, when I watched it the first time, we saw the V1 trials. There was a little funny bit like, is the dude supposed to be bleeding out of his ass or whatever? I don't think anyone has ever actually asked that question and thought like, oh yeah, he's supposed to be. It's okay. Don't worry about that. So,
Yeah. He's
that
gonna
didn't
lock
really
that right
track
up.
for me. But the idea was that Sage couldn't recreate the V1. Homelander kind of scoffs at her, says like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like I know that you're smarter than Frederick Vaught." And then later in the episode, we find out that he cut her out of crime analytics. So it does seem like they've smartened Homelander up here. Jamie G, what do you think? Was Sage deliberately sandbagging here? Could she make more V1 if she wanted? Or was it like maybe one of those things that was just legitimate luck and like you just have to get lucky to recreate it?
I think she probably could. I mean, again, that's the problem with the big brain superpower, right? Because it's theoretically there's nothing she couldn't do. She could create anything. She could cure cancer tomorrow if she wanted to, because she's smartest.
Right, she actually did. In season 3, she said she cured cancer and then like never did anything with it, I guess.
Right. Like so theoretically she should be able to do anything. So yes, and maybe that's where they go with this. I guess if that's the case, then she could make an anti V1 that could kill anyone who's taken V1, right? Like, I mean, you could spiral that way, but I do like that they've smartened Homelander up here, and even was onto her, later with the scene with Soldier Boy there with the
The
laptop and
Taco Bell
everything.
receipt.
So yeah, the Taco Bell receipt, but then also when he walked in the laptop of him with
Yeah, he figures it
Martha,
out.
so,
I like that better than Homelander being a complete idiot because in season
yeah.
one, he at least said the idea, to create these supervillains or whatever because that's what they needed to get into the military to keep Stillwell happy at the time. So, what do you think about this one here? Do you think it kind of like Sage could have made more of this V1 if she wanted to, and Homelander figured that out, or she legitimately can't?
This is a weird one because I think she can, but does she have the shit to be able to do it? There's some things that might be obsolete and can't be attainable like they
Yeah,
were.
that's totally like some certain like version of enriched uranium or something from a certain reactor or whatever, or a certain
Or if it happened to be
mineral
something
from a
kinda-
meteor or some shit.
What if
Like,
it was like a natural ingredient that just happened to be there that one time and like it doesn't exist anymore? I mean, that might be hard to replicate. Maybe
all
impossible.
right, all right, I think that makes sense.
Maybe I'm smarter than Sage, man.
The whole thing with Sage and Ashley in the previous episode, it seemed like Bashley and Sage had been scheming before without Ashley knowing. Here we just see Sage just chloroform Ashley so she can talk to Bashley, Gashly, Backley, Ash3, whatever you want to call her. But it sets up a fantastic fit. The physical comedy here of Bashley trying to walk backwards, basically, you know what I mean? Because she's not looking forwards is just absolutely priceless to me. Jamie G, did you like this whole sequence here? Did it kind of pay off here? Was this just fun enough? Especially because Eddie at the end of it, Sage just kind of like just nopes out of everything.
Yeah, I guess like I think it was better than what they've done previously with it, so I guess I'm okay with it. I like the whole use of back Ashley. I really do. So the more we get of that without it being, I don't know, a joke, or like not, because it's a fine line. It could get weak real quick. So like the more we get of it with where they
Not
keep it
being
fresh,
super
I think it'll be
repetitive,
good.
like yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it's kind of like feels like it's still like an original take on the idea. And Soup, did you like the deployment of Bashley here, back Ashley, and the idea that she reads Soldier Boy's mind here, and she is just kind of like, man, that dude is that's not a great place to visit.
Yeah, I think it's cool that she was able to do that without even like really, I may probably not even looking at him, just the presence of him in the room. Seemed like she was pretty securely tucked away there, for a hot minute. But I did like the whole back Ashley situation, and at first I was like, oh, it's so gnarly, and I didn't know like if I was even thinking it would be a cool power for her, but it's definitely suits Ashley, having this. I think it's more of an upgrade for her. And then the O Father scene with her in the room with him, when they were banging it out with all the devices and whatnot, and crazy random greasiness in there. And O Father said like something about like the eye contact from the back, Ashley, and I thought
Yeah,
I was like,
the
oh,
intense
fuck,
eye
that's
contact
so
or the
fucking
heavy eye
gnarly,
contact,
dude.
whatever
At
it
the
was.
time, that's so gnarly. But now looking at the back Ashley a little more, I'm almost thinking about
Well, because she can maybe connect with him, mind to mind or something like that. But it definitely it unnerves you a little bit, right? Like kind of like a horror movie reminds you of, like the Ring chick or whatever. Like gives you that vibe a little bit, right? Like the whole walking backwards thing is just unnatural, and I think that's very cool.
Yeah, I think she did a really good job of that, though. It was funny, and it was played in a comical way. It wasn't like it wasn't
Yeah,
like
even the way she stands is just like super awkward, and it just the physical nature of it. I think it's just incredibly well done. And then you mentioned the idea that she can read minds. I think it's incredibly cool that Ashley does these the vice presidential briefs, but no one asks questions because she can just read
Yeah.
their minds. That's a cool concept, right, JBG? I've never really seen that deployed in that way like that before, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great, and I loved it where it was just like, yes, no, yes, you're right, but I'm not like that. Just very, very cool.
I'd love to see the head coach of like a sports team do that in the press conference. All right, I'm taking questions. All right, never mind. I'm just answering questions. you know.
Right, like nope, that was a ball. Nope, he should have hit that. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what sport you're doing, which way you would want to go with it. But I certainly think there's something there with it. And then at the end of the day, Sage, she rips out her chip. We've seen this before, multiple times. Soup's doing this, but then she comes over to the boys. Soup, do you believe that the boys would trust her? She even tells them, "You shouldn't trust me, but you will." Do you buy it? Was it okay that they kind of, bring Sage in that easily? Did that work for you?
I mean, kind of, but I also know that I also kind of think that they should have been a little bit more prepared to be like, this is kind of our only move right now. But she's probably gonna fuck us too, So she's not doing
Just
this
shows
for
you
that
how few moves
herself.
they have. That's the problem. How about you, Jamie G? How do you feel about this? Did you buy that the boys would kind of bring Sage into the fold this easily, or was it, just no choice?
I guess I'm okay with it. I mean, it's something with Sage, right? I've been a pretty big critic of Sage and her power throughout really this series. So I'm okay with it. But in the end, she's actually the one that screws him over, and she was wrong, right? So it's just it's a cruel irony, really. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I gave her something to do.
I think it makes sense to a certain degree. She can read a lot of things, but at the end of the day, human emotions escape her a little bit, which makes sense because, her dream is just to be isolated and not deal with people. Again, kind of the monkey paw thing, the gift and the curse. You are the smartest person in the world, but yet it depends on dealing with people and you hate people. So I suppose that works. And the boys, they're all in at this point, right? They don't have any choice. They have to take the thin draw here. That is trusting Sage, even when she tells them, "You don't want to trust me," but the idea, like, our interests align, makes enough sense. But it kind of is what it is. We've struggled with Sage, but one person we've never struggled with is who we're talking about at number two of the seven, and that is the legend. When he showed up in season three, we loved him. In season four, it was like Poochie on The Simpsons. We're like, where is the legend? Why are you not hanging out with the legend? What is the legend doing? And we get to find out a lot about the legend in this episode. Dude, talk about the intro here. It's not quite Goodfellas or whatever, but Jamie G, did you enjoy? We come in here, we get a little D. Martin here. We get a little Chet Vanderbilt doing cocaine, wearing a tuxedo, making popcorn. Did you enjoy the intro to the legend here, the reintroduction, I should say?
Yes, I don't know if it's as good as the first introduction we got back in, whatever season when we
Clams
first got him,
Casino. You want some more Clams Casino?
this one was pretty good. I definitely take it, man. I loved it. It made me very happy. I'm like, yes, this episode needed that. This is great.
Soup, do you like the legend here? Do you think he kind of, was worth, spending a lot of time with in this episode? He gets quite a bit of screen time here.
Yeah, a good amount of screen time, and yeah, I think every minute is worth it, man. And like, it might have been some of the slower moments of the episode, but they're also very meaningful. So you need that to kind of contrast. It can't just be front to back, whatever.
A lot of golden moments, a lot of gold. We've joked about it, but dude, how about that?
And he shoved his Grogger up or Hammenschlagen or whatever the fuck. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, he's done that with basically 80% of the people in the room. So, and then
No
all of
loose
them,
lips, dude. At least
no
not on the
loose
face.
lips, at least not,
At least not on the face.
I mean, the legend is just rock solid here. I love that he's living off of day old noir nuggets, just the alliteration there with the noir nuggets. Everything is fun here with Firecracker. And we've talked about it a little bit, but dude, I mean, is that deep popcorn bucket not like just super creepy?
Yes, I don't
People are
know that I
gonna
would
fuck
want
it,
that in
right?
my.
Like people are gonna fuck the bucket.
Oh God, it's
That's gonna be a hashtag, like fuck it the bucket or something.
Yeah.
it'll be a new trend on TikTok. It's just it'll be a challenge, right? How
Deep
deep
butter
how
fucking
deep can you get
buckets.
in the bucket? Like how deep can you yeah, it's bad, dude.
Yeah, probably very high in sodium.
Moved on from a can of Pringles, apparently. We're next level now.
I thought it was fun to see the legend to come to the boys' hideout. We had the nice scene with him and MM. Tons of great lines there. But when he comes back, just kind of nice seeing him interact with Annie, with Huey again a little bit. We saw some of that in season three. Just kind of setting up the idea here that, the legend can adapt to whatever situation. They go to Vought Village. We talked about that for the most part. There was some fun stuff there. But then when he goes back to the theater, I thought maybe it's my double damn, maybe it's not. That moment he turns around to see his boss again, his boss was like 19 years old, literally less than maybe a third of his age. Dude, the shot of his boss's brains after Homelander lasered him pouring out was one of the more graphic shots we've seen on the show. And then just everything with Homelander and the Legend, dude. It's some of my favorite shit the boys have ever done. Soup, how'd you feel about this? All the interaction basically between Homelander and the Legend.
Situation, the scene between Homelander and Legend was just, I mean, it was top notch, dude. I mean, that was a good piece of acting on both of them. You got to know a bit more about each of them characters, and just the way Legend handled the Homelander thing. Like, I think the fact that he wasn't intimidated or scared of Homelander kind of saved him too. That and everything he said, just a general vibe. Like, it touched the button with Homelander, man. 'Cause he could have fucking probably would have normally killed him. Something changed his mind there.
Well, that's an interesting point. Jamie G, what do you think? Jamie G, what do you think changed Homelander's mind? At one point it seemed like the Legend was, destined to die here, but he makes it out alive. Like, what do you think was the tipping point?
Two things. One, he wasn't afraid to die. Everyone who Homelander interacts with is afraid of him, and he feels like he has to give them what they fear in killing them. He wasn't afraid. He was ready to die right then and there. He played it cool. And but the other part of it was he actually gave him information without giving him information that Homelander picked up on with the necklace tracking system. And I think those two things were why he didn't do it.
Could you pick one? Because I think again he got what he wanted. That makes sense because the idea that she had the Vault Alert necklace, like again, making Homelander a little bit smarter than he'd been. Just when he calls crime analytics with that, I thought that was really well done. But I thought it was the idea that maybe the Legend takes a different approach than Stan Edgar or even Stillwell did to handling talent, so to speak. Like the Legend handles it like you would handle like superstar athlete or like a very fickle actor, right? Like he even tells him, like, dude, yeah, oh yeah, you're batshit insane or whatever, but that kind of goes with the territory. That's just what talent is. I don't know. What do you think, Soup? Do you think that's what helped Homelander ultimately let him go? Did he really relate to him on some level? Or was it just like, oh yeah, you actually gave me what I needed. I can find Golden Geisha, so go ahead, you can live.
I think it's a bit of both, and he knew that he wasn't going to be a threat to him. So, he had a moment there, and I think Legend kind of like got through to him, and he learned something in a weird Homelander way. So maybe he appreciated that for a moment. And
Well, he did tell him,
yeah,
like, yeah, oh yeah, you're batshit, dude. Like, but whatever. Like, that's okay. Like, I get it. Like, you're not the only one. And I thought everything about getting pushed out or whatever, it's not quite taken verbatim from the comics, but it reminds me a little bit of what we got out of Stan Edgar last episode here. So I think it's kind of ultimately pushing Homelander kind of like along the road to where he needs to go. And dude, shout out the Legend. A lot of people, when Homelander lets him live, he's like, leave. Don't say anything. How many people would screw up and say something? The Legend's like, and just books out the door. So give it up for the Legend there who did the absolute right thing when given the chance to live. He didn't overthink it. He didn't try to say thank you or anything. Just booked out of there.
right.
Yep.
That's what you got to do. And what we have to do is move on to number one of the seven, the big finish here. We have to talk about Bomb Sight and obviously Homelander getting the V1. Jamie G, we've talked about Sage kind of ad nauseum here. I know you're not a fan of the big brain here. What do you think about her plan to bring Soldier Boy in to neutralize Bomb Sight failing? Do you think it's that she failed to anticipate that he actually loved Clara at Stormfront that much, or do you think it was just bound to happen at some point? Do you like how this kind of plot resolved itself?
I didn't really like it because, again, smartest person ever on the planet. She should have saw that coming, right? And so, to me, to have her kind of being like blah 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 baffled, like she can't, even form words. Like, how could this be that shocked? She should never be that shocked about anything. If things like that can still surprise her, then why is she trying to rush to the end of the world, right? Like to me, I didn't like that.
In my head, that what bothers me is like, if that's her, like, think about this. How does she not know that Golden Geisha had a Vault Alert necklace?
That
She
too.
shield for them. That's so obvious. I'm clinging onto the hope here that Sage is this is all start part of a play because again, if she is a super smart soup if they're going to go to the base level of just, oh, she can't understand true love, then, I'm not really wild about that. That doesn't really seem like where I want to go with this. And Soup, how
Yeah.
do you feel about kind of, how they portrayed Sage's failure here? Do you think it makes sense? Are you cool with it? Where are you at?
I only think it makes sense if she has a bigger plan or scheme, because if it didn't, then it would be a huge, massive fail on her part, dude, which almost seems unrealistic. What if that wasn't even really V1? Nobody tested it. It's not like you took a look. You just
Right,
put
he
it
just found it, and it's
on.
just this one Or again, we talked about it a little bit. Homelander apparently had Odessa. That was a big part of Gen V, like
Damn it.
something else in his blood that Soldier Boy didn't have. So, we don't know necessarily how the effects will be, but they do set up that, if need be, Soldier Boy can rip the V out of anybody. So, we'll talk about it in predictions, but I think that narrows down, the list of people who could take Homelander down potentially at this point. But dude, we talked about it.
That was interesting too with Bombside too, because I didn't know Soldier Boy had that power where he could just take your V
They
out of
showed
you.
it in season 3, but it was very wild and uncontrollable. He would take some powers away from people. Like, remember, Kamiko got depowered, and that's why Annie had to like get V stolen for her so she could get her powers back. So it was a thing, but he had no real control over it. But at this point, it seems like we saw when he took out the other guy when they were under Fort Harmony there, like he now has like real control over it. So like he can just take away someone's powers and not kill him, which makes him again. Him and Ryan are pretty much the only two backstops we know that have any chance of taking down Homelander at this point. But he also said, bomb sight, I can just like, oh yeah, you have super tough skin, but I can just crank your neck off. And Super, are you okay? Like with the way they portrayed the powers here, like it's not really obvious who can kill who, what is more powerful. Are you okay to just kind of like ride with it and vibe with it, knowing that it's not necessarily like perfectly written?
I think because it's always been like that, then yeah, I am. Because it keeps you guessing.
Fair enough. And one thing they keep you guessing, if we said that Stormfront was going to come back, Jamie G, what do you think the odds were? Oh yeah, she's going to come back and do some German lines about a Homelander rubbing his dick in off her Stupen or whatever it was. I mean, that's a hell of a way to bring the character back, right?
Oh man. Yeah, he was thumbing it. I don't even know. It was funny and weird. I'm glad they didn't show it. That's mostly what I'm most thankful for.
Not me. I wish they would. I'm hoping I can find some behind the scenes, dude.
That would be a hell of a like they do the X-ray or whatever on Prime, like where you can go behind the scenes. That would be so you can watch that one. I want to watch the one where Homelander had to pretend like he was getting banged by terror. I think that would be more. If I had to pick between those two X-ray behind the scenes, that's the one I would go with. I think one of the criticisms here is that this scene in kind of the whole end of this episode will play much bigger. It's like call it like 5, 10 years from now when you watch Vought Rising first and like watch all of the shows in chronological order. And Soup, are you okay with that? The idea, like sometimes, shows at this point would build to a sequel. It seems here that they're trying to lay track for a prequel. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I kind of like it actually, because it'll come into play when you're watching the prequel too, and it'll give you a reason to rewatch in 5, 10 years or whenever you want to.
How do you feel about this, Jamie G? Are you okay with them maybe laying a little bit track for a prequel here, despite the fact that we don't have that many episodes of the buys left?
Yeah, it's okay. I think I would be less. I don't love it as much as I would because they did away with Gen V. I liked kind of that didn't have to be a sequel. That was the perfect kind of like, hey, it's the same timeline, but this could be a follow-up chapter, right? And what we do with it. Like that was I was a big fan of that. Doing away with that and then basically making the last couple episodes or really this whole season lay the framework for a prequel with Clara and home and Soldier Boy and stuff. It's okay. I guess I'm glad there'll be something else. Although I don't know, is there still boys in Mexico or whatever? I don't know.
It could be a thing. One thing that bothered me a little bit, again, I've talked about the inconsistency here. Remember last season when Butcher had full control of his powers? Like he just ripped Newman apart, and Newman was just a pinch below Homelander. They weren't sure if the virus would work on Homelander, but maybe there was a chance it would work on Newman. And here, Bombsite kind of handles them fairly easily. Soup, does this bother you at all? Like Butcher all of a sudden this season, no chest sticks, right? He just has the wrist sticks. Is he a little bit underpowered compared to what they established last year?
Yeah, maybe just hasn't unleashed that yet, you know. Depends on what the moment calls for, or I'm not sure how it works, you know, if you're
Well,
in.
I mean, maybe he needs to go full evil, right? What do you think,
uh,
Jamie G? Is that maybe it? Like Butcher has to go like all the way to Dark Butcher to do the full unleashing of the powers, or is the show just kind of, playing a little bit fast and loose there?
Yeah, I think it's just inconsistent. And I think it's just whatever, like they basically built that into wherever they need to go with the scene or the storyline in any given moment they can. And you never really know who's other than like Homelander, right? Nobody else is, and now Soldier Boy. No one else has like the ultimate power.
I guess that's fair. I mean, it seemed like Soldier Boy and Bobside had fought before. Soldier Boy's like, oh yeah, you have unbreakable skin, but I can just, just crack your neck and break your neck. That's fine. I mean, but even back in season 4 of The Boys, when Noir and Deep attacked them at the Flatiron Building, we talked about it. MM takes a Gatling gun to Noir, but the Deep is knocked out, and they can't figure out like how they could kill him. Like, dude, if the Deep can shove a knife through Noir, couldn't Starlight just shove a knife through the Deep? Like that's kind of what I don't understand. That's what bothers me. Like I don't understand the rules here. Like how are they bulletproof? And then you look at Annie, I see a lot of piercing. Like how'd she get her ears pierced? That kind of stuff bothers me a little bit. And so, does this bother you at all a little bit, or is this just me?
You're right when you look at things like that, man. You know, I mean, it seems like
I just want a little bit of consistency here so we know who can kill who, like how hard it is. So like when they do it, it means more, I think.
it's borderline sloppy without explaining.
Yeah, that's
Like, you know, I mean, if you have unpenetrable skin or whatever, yeah, how do you have an ear pierced? You know,
all
question.
right. JBG, how about yourself? Am I pushing too hard here, or is this
No,
at
it's
least a
fair. It's
legitimate
fair. I mean,
complaint?
it's definitely a fair criticism, and I think it's just because they didn't want to box themselves in, and so they basically have this in their back pocket if they need it. If they got really OCD on like, all right, here's everybody's powers, and here's exactly how to kill them, it would box them in, I think, and I just think they decided not to do that
That
for
is
better or
very
worse.
fair, and ultimately, that is the correct answer. That is 100% what's going on. Again, I just go back to like Breaking Bad. I think the absolute top level shows can find a way to
Yeah.
walk this tightrope and pull it off. And
Yep.
I think a couple episodes ago, I thought maybe they could get there. Now I'm not maybe hoping for a tightrope as much as like just do the Indiana Jones Last Crusade thing and just show some faith to cross the final border there. So. But overall, were you okay, Soup? You okay with Soldier Boy giving the V1 to Homelander? Did it work out for you? I mean, that's the big moment that everything swings on at the end of the episode. Did that track for you?
No, I didn't like that, man. Not at all, really. I was kind of hoping that they would that wouldn't happen, but in order to keep the show going, I guess like something had to. So it was a good twist. I don't love it. Just you know, I mean, I think it's great for the show. Personally, I don't love it. I wish it would have. You know, you always want the bad guys not to have the advantage or whatever. But and Soldier Boy, I mean, it made me lose a little bit of like I don't like him as much now. Yeah, I was starting to like him a bit more, and now he's like, now maybe I like him a little bit less, unless it wasn't really V1.
Oh, all
Could be.
right. Interesting. I mean, fair enough. And JBG, one thing I thought here is that maybe Sage overplayed her hand. The fact that she showed that video to Soldier Boy and Homelander, and then they had that conversation, is actually what fucked up her plan. Do you think there's a chance that that would happen because it made Soldier Boy realize that as much as he loved Clara Stormfront, that she loved Homelander more? So ultimately, like, he did the thing for true love. Do you think that maybe tracks a little bit in terms of what ultimately happened here and how this played out?
It does, but again, she should have known that as the smartest person. I just go back to that, right? Like that's just to me, that's just like not cool because yeah, you could see that Ashley, making that mistake, right? But somebody who's the smartest person, you should know that, and you should know that's how they're going to react. The only thing is, if Soldier Boy has another angle here, or if he knows something we don't know about how Homelander's going to react to it. If that's really the reasoning, though, is because he realized that Clara loved what he became, and he was kind of what she envisioned, right? The superhero being. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess it tracks a little bit. It's just like coming from Sage, man. It's just again, it's just another swing and a miss with her.
But it was a hell of a way to end the episode, right? And the only thing
Yes.
that killed me is we saw the Homelander crazy laser eyes in the trailer, so I kind of knew where it was going to go. So that took me out of it a little bit. But what do you think, Soup? I mean, sometimes you get the crazy needle drops to end the episode or whatever. This reminded me a little bit of the end of the pilot episode where Homelander lasers that plane's engines. Did you like this way to go out of the episode?
I mean, yeah, huge. This is definitely a perfect ending to an episode, building up to the last two episodes of the series.
All bets are off now.
All bets are off.
Have your tickets handy because it is time to kick off the award tour for Though the Heavens Fall. And we expected a high body count this season, so our first stop on the award tour honors The Departed.
His soul and the souls of all the faithful departed.
What was his name? The Departed.
And this week, only one in The Departed end. We have Black Noir 2, and we often just try to reflect on, did they have a good death? For me, this is a poor death. This is one of my least favorite deaths on The Boys. I wanted more out of this. If him and Deep were going to go at it, I wanted an epic struggle. Soup, what do you think? Was this a good death for Noir, or was it a little bit of a cheap death?
No, it was weak, man. It was a fucking cheap shot, and I don't like it at all. I think it sucks. I hope he finds a way to. I hope there's a way he survives.
Yeah, so I also hope he's not dead. How about you, Jamie G? Are you hoping he's not dead? And if he is dead, was this kind of not the greatest?
It was a weak death scene, and just the fact that they built it up the way they did to have it go there just really kind of sucked. So it just didn't deliver the way we wanted to. Hopefully he's still alive. This show always does a good job with their needle drops, even if there aren't a lot of them. And sure, you could ask Shazam what the songs are, but why ask Shazam when you could just check out Soup on Soundtracks?
This one was good. There's not many here. Hasn't been a whole lot this season, man. But right there at the beginning, the Legend, little kick in the head joint. That was awesome. Good fucking setup for the Legend. Nice little put together. Little bathroom scene. It just fit perfectly, man. I loved it.
Can't ever go wrong with a little Rat Pack action, especially when the Legend is involved.
Ain't that a kick in the head, dude? Great track there and perfect for. I mean, I don't know that the Legend could be doing anything other than the Rat Pack, right? Like, I mean, that just feels like
I'm sure he has multiple stories about him in Vegas with members of the Rat Pack. I'm sure he does. If not, I would
have been there, man.
Yeah, talk about a spin-off or a prequel I would love to see. How about the Legend prequel?
Oh, yeah.
Where he's just managing talent, hanging out with, Frankie at Sands and everything.
I could totally get behind that, man. Just like Bashley.
That'd be a hell of a way. We'll put that right on the soundtrack, dude. It would even level up to some of those fantastic 90s soundtracks. Maybe not the Judgment Night soundtrack, but at least a High School High soundtrack, possibly Forrest Gump.
Next up on the award tour, we're checking out some alternate episode titles. Mills, is there something in particular that the title of Though the Heavens Fall is referencing? And what alternate titles do you have for this one?
This is more of a reference to a Latin phrase. It's a legal axiom, just the idea that justice must be done. But in this case, it is somewhat ironic because Homelander might be God, the heavens might be falling, but we got to do what we got to do. And in terms of some alternate episode options here, first up, let's go with a fun one here. Just because I would like to get a little bit of doors action going on. How about Meat Riders of the Storm? You can't all be the riders on the storm, but the Meat Riders of the Storm. The storm is coming. Meat Riders might have an advantage. And next up, we have The Smell of Death. There's a lot of it in there. It's not necessarily lasagna based. You could also call this The Boys 444 and 4 to the fourth power. That is a Naked Gun reference. If you get that, we'd love you. Make sure you like and subscribe. Next up, we got nice, short, but sweet Kill Juice. If you're just like, yo, the next episode of The Boys is titled Kill Juice, I would be there for that. Following that, you want to get a little bit religious with it. You want to look a little bit up top. How about God checks out? Not quite Dunstan checks out, but if God checks out and Homelander's all that's left, we might be in trouble. And then finally, last alternate episode option here, we have the natural order. Because possibly at the end, the natural order has been observed. Has it been not? The legend told us what we need to do. So those are the options here. If you want a real fun one here, meet Riders of the Storm. Then we have the smell of death, kill juice, God checks out, in the natural order. Soup, any of those stick out to you as one you enjoy over the others?
Come on, but I gotta go meet riders, dude. Meet riders on the storm, dude.
How about yourself, Jamie G? Are you riding the meat storm or do you have something else?
Oh man, they're all great, but I cannot get off of Meat Riders on the Storm, dude. It's a
Fucking meat rider, dude.
great one.
Jim Morrison would be proud if Jim Morrison was the soup. I'm not sure what his power would be, but I am sure that we always want to discuss the high-end fashion on this show with a little fashion by Frenchie. Yeah, sometimes we like to highlight what Frenchie is wearing, but more often than not, it's Huey and MM hold it down with t-shirts. Butcher doing crazy stuff. Jamie G, you are our most fashionable man here. You are our Ben Affleck, for better or worse. So walk us through Fashion by Frenchie, man. What stuck out from this episode?
First up, MM, and I don't know if MM is trying to say that Homelander is not like us, but I am digging the black Kendrick Lamar hoodie that he's rocking under his jacket here. I mean, he's got his groove back, and it's showing. We got to go to his twin here, Huey. You know that we're close to the end of times here when Huey busts out the Billy Joel tease. This is a deep cut, as Billy Joel's first album wasn't released until late 1971, and he really didn't become popular until Piano Man dropped in 1973. Frenchie's personal fashion here. You gotta love it. Nothing super special this week from Frenchie. Him and Kamiko, they're dressed like, I don't know, they're ready for the Matrix sequel. But that's generally what they rock in the comics, so I think this one makes sense. Butcher is on a run here, man. Butcher is absolutely running wild with these crazy shirts. I don't know, man. Is he shopping at the same thrift store as Charlie from It's Always Sunny? Quite possibly. I mean, if you really look at this, we can't tell if this shirt is supposed to be the sky, the ocean, or both. Either way, though, I bet you he is on fire at Applebee's after dark, baby. Might even get a free drink. And last but not least, shout out to the legend. He just, whatever he wears, he looks sharp. I think it comes from the glasses. He has incredible pair of shades, rocking the penguin suit here, looking pretty awesome. Now it is time for the hardest stop on the award tour, our favorite quotes. Mills, not only can you find quotes that go harder than DMX in 1999, it's almost impossible to pick your favorite here. I'll let you go first. Do your best. You could literally throw a dart. There's so many incredible quotes.
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult one. I am going to go with obviously something by the legend. There are so many, but I don't want to deal with anal warts. So how about getting onto the High Club the long way?
See the blonde over there? I fucked her in 74. Got me in the Mile High Club. No plane.
Jamie G, the kids these days, they say no cap. I'm saying no plane. That's how the legend does it. That's how we do it. No cap, no plane, Mile High Club. How about yourself? Favorite quote from Though the Heavens Fall?
Oh God, I mean there's a lot here, and again the usual suspects were all in there with great ones, but I too am gonna go with the legend, and I loved his line here when he says,
"There's a natural order to things, and the more you fight the inevitable, the more the inevitable just cunt punts you." Yep.
He's so right though too. That's like kind of like sitting you down, giving you really good advice type stuff there too, man. Pretty impressive.
I have once again got to go to Soldier Boy, man. And as one of y'all said earlier, he has just been a quote factory this season, man. He came out with another couple of bangers, one of them being,
"Makeup is going to need you in the chair, 6 a.m.
They can feather my nut hair. I'm busy tomorrow."
I love it. Short to the point, dude. I think I'm going to use it in life, Feather my nut here. I'm busy.
That's a pretty good put down. I mean, you can feather my nut hair. I've never heard that before. Like, it's so specific. It's not even braid. I think I've heard braid my nut hair, but not feather.
Right? Yeah.
The award tour rolls on. We're about to highlight our favorite and or craziest moments from Though the Heavens Fall. And we call these our double dams.
Double down.
There's a lot of them here. There's at least 3 that I can pick right up the top of my head, but I'm going to go ahead and narrow it down to the one, which is the moment that the Deep takes out Noir, man. That was a big shocker for me, man. Almost more of a little bit more of a shocker than the final scene there. Both right.
It was
Right
an
there.
unlubed shocker, it sounds like. You were not ready for that one.
Yeah, it was definitely unlubed. That was a dry shock, dude.
Dry shock, dude. It was a dry shock.
Yeah.
How about yourself, JBG? Double damn. The greatest love in history. Double damn.
There was a bunch of them. I'm gonna go with that final scene, as Homelander just gets down on his knees and just explodes up with lasers just shooting out of his eyes up until as far as could be as far as space goes. I mean, he could be hitting another planet, dude. That was coming out with a fury. Just a crazy moment where it's like, wow, now what? Definitely an awesome way to end the episode.
Y'all took most of the best ones here, but let me go back to the Vaught Village there. How about the elderly man not even credited the dude with the elastic balls? Just when that drops with that needle drop of Le Freak by Chic, and then he just talks, and then, the whole idea that, oh, MM, this is you, and the way the Frenchie looks at it after, definitely did a double damn. There's a couple there. Obviously, the legend telling Homelander that, oh yeah, you're a nut job. Don't worry about it. But yeah, dude, if we can work Super Balls in, this is a very 90s heavy show. I think I'm there for it.
Next up on the award tour, we have our very special supporting players. These are our favorite characters from the episode who are not in the main cast. Soup, so far you've gone with Love Sausage, Rock Hard, Stan Edgar, Rick, which was Annie's dad, and Tear, because he's just a very good dog. Who is your very special supporting player for this one?
It's almost impossible to not go with the legend, dude. So I feel like everybody's going to go with the legend, which is fine, but he deserves it. Excellent performance by him. Runner up would have to be Bombsight.
Oh, all right. So the soup has stipulated that we will be unanimous on the legend here. Jamie G,
Yes,
will
we will.
you second the motion? Yeah, it's hard not to be. You'd
It
also
is.
previously gone Love Sausage, Rock Hard, Stan Edgar, Rick, Seth Rogen. So you are, throwing our guy here in after that. I have gone with The Worm, Rock Hard, Madeline Stillwell, Courtney Fortney, Adam Bork. We're all going legend here. Jamie G, who would your honorable mention be? Soup went with Bombsight. Who you going with?
Ooh, yeah, I guess I'd go with Golden Geisha here. She had some good lines too.
She was great, dude. I think that's who I would go with as well. A lot of fun. I didn't mind Bombsight. Obviously, I'm sure he's going to play a bigger role in the Vault Rising, but yeah, I thought Geisha was actually pretty awesome here. So again, only just falling, second to the legend because the legend is literally legendary.
Next up on the award tour, it's time to hear it for the boy or girl, our episode MVPs. Soup, so far you've had A-Train, MM, Soldier Boy, Frenchie, and Firecracker as your MVPs. Let's hear it for your boy or girl, your episode MVP for Though the Heavens Fall.
For the first time this season, and maybe even since a season or 2 ago, I don't remember the last time this happened, but I'm gonna go with Homelander on this one, man. I mean, it was he had a lot of good scenes there. Anthony Starr with the acting, of course. He's come close a couple times this season to me taking him anyway, but just the outcome there, whatever it may be, either way, at that moment, he got what he wanted, on every level. And
A little bit less is more, right? The idea, like, they didn't have as much Homelander in this episode, but I thought it made him more impactful. So I think that's a pretty cool call. Jamie G, so far you've gone with Butcher, Frenchie, Ryan, Frenchie, Firecracker, or are you going with a third Frenchie? Who do you have for us as your MVP?
Not a third Frenchie, at least not this episode. I'm going with the legend. He was just awesome, and he got a lot of screen time, and really it was a big part of the storyline too here and what happened in this episode. So I got to go with the legend, man.
So far, I've gone with A-Train, Frenchie, Soldier Boy, Annie, and Firecracker. Yeah, I'm doubling up on the legend. He was my very special supporting player. He is my MVP. Not sure if we'll get him again. We can talk about that in our predictions and speculation. But yep, Legend absolutely killed it. No diggity, no doubt. Full Thunder Gun, no man left behind. No legend left behind.
It's the end of the line for the award tour, and the final stop is our episode grades. For the record, we grade every episode of The Boys on a scale of 0 to 100 Vault coins. Magnum Mills, how many Vault coins can you spare for Though the Heavens Fall, Season 5, Episode 6?
I was digging the season premiere with 94 Volcoin. From there, I've gone 89, 90, 86, 91. I'm staying right in that zone, man. I'm a low 90s kid here. I like a lot of what happened here, but I do have some logistical problems, so I have to knock out a couple of points here, a couple of coins. I'm going to go 90 Vought coin. Jamie G, thus far, you have literally been living in the low 90s, 93, 93, 94, 91, 92. I'm not sure if you're trying to set up an open-ended straight draw, what you're doing here. You just want to live in the early 90s, but how many Vought coin can you spare, and are you still living in the early 90s?
Yeah, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, Mills. I do want to set up the open-ended straight draw here, and maybe even get top straight. You know, you never want to get low straight and get beat straight over straight. But I am going to go 92 Vought coins here. Everything in this season so far has been really good. A couple of little things in this one. So not quite up to the top of the mountain so far, which has been 94 for me, but I'm giving it a solid 92 coins here.
Also, can say that Straight Over Straight would be a fantastic name for a poker podcast, but it also might pick up some traction in some other circles just based on the name. Soup, thus far you're pretty free with your Vault coin. You gone 98 to the season premiere, then 93, 91, 90, 93. Where are you at here, man? You've been all over the 90s, 98 to 90. Where are you living for Though the Heavens Fall?
I think I'm going to tick up on this one in 94. I really like this way the one set up the last two episodes coming. Just a lot there, a lot of suspense, there's some cliffhangers that are, absolute game changers going into this next episode. So I think it was very well done leading up to the final two. A lot of good shit. So I'm sticking right with the 94.
Y'all make the math easy. 90, 92, 94. That's a very solid 92 Vault coin average. So that's our grade. But more importantly, what's our style? Soup, we're going to rely on you here. If this episode of The Boys was a soup stew, something of that nature, you're putting it in a pot on the stove, what would it be?
And this might be a little bit weird, but it all goes back to that scene where Homelander lasered the dude in the movie theater and the brains fell out of his head like that, And because I was going to go with some beef and barley, thought there was a lot of I figured this is a meaty one, I shifted gears, and not that this is intestines or anything, but to me, organs and intestines, I felt like should be into play. So I'm going with a soup that's famous, or a famous soup from famous Mexican soup that involves tripe, which definitely not not really not I don't know. It's not all that. It's not a sexy food, it is intestine, so intestine lining or whatever the fuck. So anyway, tripe. The soup is menudo, which they say is the best hangover cure in the world. Mexican soup called menudo. Either love it or hate it, man. But try it if you haven't, because it won't hurt you.
Menudo still better than monkey brains from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yes. Temple of Doom. We're putting the award tour in our rear view because it is time for Speculation Station. Our predictions and theories for the final two episodes. Here's a secondary warning, though. We're in full-on spoiler territory here. We do not have a teaser for the next episode, but we could be discussing any recent news or announcements, and there could be a few spoilers from the comics. If you want to avoid that, thank you for checking out this episode of Compound B. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week. For everybody else, Magnum Mills, what is up next on The Boys?
The penultimate episode of The Boys, season 5, episode 7, should be titled The Frenchman, the Female, and the Man Called Mother's Milk. We do not know who the director will be, but the credited writer we have seen thus far listed online is Anselm Richardson. This would be his 4th overall written by credit, 3rd solo written by credit. I don't know what else we can add. I don't want to add spoilers to the comics here, but Jamie, let me ask you, you've been kind of a critic of Sage. Where does she go from here? Does she have a contingency plan? Is there a chance we never see Sage again? Where does she go from here?
No, I think there's got to be a plan B. I think maybe she revisits her whole thought process around everything and now she doubles down. Or maybe we realize this was all part of the plan and they just kind of take the easy way out from a writing standpoint. Like, oh no, she's doing a double secret cross and she knew that was coming, right? And so we'll see. It's definitely going to be something though. She's not just going to be nothing. They've made her too big of the plot point.
Soup, am I crazy here? Like, it seems like Sage has an emotional blind spot here. She can't see emotions, but I'm Gen V who could see emotions. But our girl Emma, like Low Cricket, like, do you think you could see maybe like her, like, that'd be a cool team up, right? Like, the Gen V characters have to come in, right? Do you think that would be a cool team up, man? Do you think we're getting the Gen V characters? Where's Sage going? Like, what's going on with all this?
I mean, I could definitely see that. I think that would be a cool team up, man. And yeah, where the fuck are these Gen V characters? 2 episodes left. I mean, if we don't see them next episode, I'm almost going to be a little disappointed because I'm hoping for him to get a little bit of screen time here, you know?
I wonder if there's a way they could have held him back, like to determine, like, all right, if Gen V doesn't get picked up for season 3, we can kill more of them. I really would have thought, like, I would have lost a lot of money betting on when they would show up. Jamie G, in my nuts here, like, if I gave you, under over minus 110 Gen V characters show up in episode 4 halfway through the season, you would have taken the under, right? Like, not the over. Like, you would have thought they would have shown up before season or before episode 4, not after.
Absolutely. In fact, I was a little worried that they were going to be used too much, right? And so much for that. We haven't seen them at all. They haven't been used at all. Well, translucent, we did get that. So
Yeah, I mean Maverick. I mean, well, translucent
Maverick.
kid. That would have been fun. Like people have been talking about, other casting you could do. People like, oh, cast John Cena as translucent's like grandfather or whatever, because the whole thing like no one could see John Cena or whatever. So that would be a funny kind of like very meta thing. And we know Cena likes to do cameos. And Soup, if there was going to be one more random celebrity cameo, who would you like it to be?
Oh, that's interesting. You know what, man? I don't know. That's fucking crazy. Give me Slater, man. When in doubt, give me Slater.
Give me Woody Harrelson in a flashback as Soldier Boy's dad. Jamie G, how about you, man? Like one celebrity cameo here before we go out final 2 episodes.
Yeah, I just think The Rock would be awesome in here. I'd love to get him in here. He's already got the look and everything, but he could bring some humor, could bring some bravado. I think he could be a lot of fun.
So The Rock as The Rock, like The Rock as himself,
Or just as like playing a
or Rock is a
superhero.
soup, like Rock is
Yeah,
a
The
soup.
Rock is a soup. Yeah, The Rock is a
All
soup.
right, then you have to tell us what would his superpower be.
I mean, he's a jabroni stomping, pie eating. Let's see here. I guess it would probably be like he
I mean, is the eyebrow thing involved?
his eyebrow like could yeah. I would say he could. Oh
his
man, that's
eyebrows can
tough.
fly off his face and like attack
No,
people
I
with
think
their
I think he
bats.
would do the people's elbow, but like it could literally like go through planets or something crazy. Like it's that powerful.
All right, so that was fun. Less fun here. Obviously, Butcher is not going to be happy here. Soup, do you think there's a chance that Butcher is going to blame all of this on Huey? Be like, dude, if you wouldn't have made us try to get the V1, then we never would have found Geisha, and then Homelander never would have found her, and this never would have happened. Do you think there's a chance that this is what splits up the boys because Butcher's going to blame Huey for making them try to find the V1 instead of just poisoning them?
It definitely could go that way. I mean, I kind of hope it doesn't, but it might. A possibility for sure. Maybe everybody just blames it on Sage because it kind of is her fault too.
What do you think, Jamie D? Who does this ultimately get, whose feet does this ultimately get placed at?
I think this could be the thing that spirals Butcher out of control. Where look, he tried to do it in a civilized way. I think he just blames everyone, and now he's going to go on just a pure suicide mission. Doesn't matter anymore.
JBG,
I think he blames everyone. He blames the world, the whole lot of it.
fair enough. Pop quiz, hotshot. Does the virus matter anymore? Jamie G. Like, will they still release it even if it can't kill Homelander? Like, would killing all the rest of the soups who don't have V1 be enough?
No, the whole point is to kill Homelander, right? I mean, that's more so than anyone. It's already not going to kill Soldier Boy, so it's already been kind of proved not as important, right? But I think the last hope was like, well, at least we can kill, Homelander. So I think it's depending on what this does to Homelander, it could be irrelevant now for like the third time this season, right?
Right. I mean, what do you think, Sip? Like, are they still releasing the virus or is it now kind of irrelevant?
I don't know. I'd like to think that maybe they do it. Well, I don't know if I like to think, but part of me thinks that maybe they do it anyway and just take their chances. And like, how do you know it's not going to kill Homelander? Is it the V1 or is it the Odessa shit or whatever? What they kept Soldier Boy alive? Who knows? But it might be worth a shot to try, as far as Butcher's concerned. So they might. I don't know that it'll go down like that or not, but um, I can see him thinking that.
All right. Well, let's assume that Homelander has to die. Soup, who ends it? Is it Soldier Boy, Marie, Moreau? I mean, because those are the only two people we know that theoretically could make him vulnerable at this point. I mean, I guess they can make him vulnerable and someone else could kill him. Do you think it's one of those two who at least like depowers him or maybe Homelander wins?
Soldier Boy could depower him, but I don't think he will because he has to willingly do it. Marie Moreau could probably take the V out of his blood, maybe. Or maybe that happens and then Ryan kills him.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, the other, we saw him hurt.
I feel like Ryan's gonna come
Stormfront,
back.
obviously.
So
Yeah, Ryan has to come back. And Jamie G, who do you think, man? Who, like, if someone's going to punch Homelander's ticket, who is it? Soldier Boy, Marie, Ryan, I guess maybe Butcher, but obviously Butcher seems pretty depowered now. I'd kind of be disappointed if he could, like, just take Homelander out, especially after he got the V1.
Yeah, this is a tough one here, man. I'm gonna say it's Homelander himself. That he's the only one that can do himself in here. And he does
Interesting, because
somehow.
we did see when he wanted to inject the V1, he lasered himself.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe could we get a, Kate or someone, could someone push him or fool him? That'd be interesting, right?
yeah, that could be a thing, but you think that might have already happened. If anybody could fool him or whatever, it would be probably Sage.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's a whole little bit here where when Huey and Andy are sneaking in the church, there's all of the pictures of the psychics. Do either of y'all have any idea where Homelander's going with that? Do you think he's just trying to like predict things so he can make it look like he's more omnipotent and a better god? Either y'all have any idea where that's going? Because they showed it very deliberately and collecting psychics, that's got to be something, right?
Yeah, I thought that was really, I hope they, because it was kind of one of those things where it was just said in passing and it's like, whoa, that's weird. I really hope they dive more into that because I don't know if that's him. Like it's correlating with him being smarter the last couple episodes, right? Maybe it is.
Yeah, I think it definitely could be. So maybe Homelander has a little bit bigger of a plan here. We'll see. I like the idea that he's not just like purely driven by emotion. The idea that it's more like early first, second, really season 4 Homelander was just the one that was off. So I think they've kind of just maybe dialed the character back in. All right, as far as characters we might see again, Jamie G, we heard of this episode. Is Stormfront dead or is she coming back? Yes or no?
I gotta believe she's coming back. They're setting it all up here. I gotta believe she's coming back.
Stormfront coming back, yeah or nay?
I'm gonna go with yeah. I know they are setting it up, but it might not be for this show. It might be for the Vol Rising show. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see her. I also won't be surprised if we do. And maybe that's
No, way to split the baby. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that she is out. Jamie G, how about the legend? Are we seeing him again or is he done?
Sadly, I don't think we will, but man, I would be there for it.
Soup, we seeing the legend again?
I don't think so. I would be
I'm
there.
saying we see him again in like the denouement. Like he
Okay.
survived to the end, and we see him kind of at the end of the days. How about Bombsight and Golden Geisha Soup? Are they both kind of one-offs here? Kind of just the residual ends of the Vought Rising storyline, or do you think maybe they'll play another part?
I think they're probably set on them because it'd be a lot to kind of squeeze that into, you know.
Yeah, and Bombsight just lost his power, so that's probably not doing much. And Jamie G, how about Terror? He's a very good boy. Are we seeing Terror again?
He is a very good boy. I just don't think so. Unless it's like, what? I'm gonna say yes. I think we get one last shot as like, you know, Butcher's either riding off to face his fate or somehow he makes it. He's rolling in his car with Terror. Either way, we get one last scene with him with Terror.
So Art, if we see Terror again, it will be because he dies as kind of like something to push Butcher forward. So don't love that. And Soup, we saw him escape earlier in the season. How about Dognot? He looks a lot like you, played by Zachary Gowan. Is Dognot going to be seen again this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think we get a little another glimpse of everybody that's still alive, you know, before the season ends.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And Jamie G, we talked about it. We've had other characters early in the season, Countess Crow, Rick, Annie's dad, their family, stuff like that. Do you think some of these characters are going to kind of come back around at least push the plot forward somehow? Or do you think I'm just kind of doing a little bit of wish casting here?
I don't think there are. We only got 2 episodes left. We still haven't seen a single cast member from Gen V. I think that's what's got to come in to move the storyline forward. So I don't think so.
Soup, who is showing up in episode 7? Ryan, the Gen V characters, Stan Edgar. Maybe you get more numbers with the Gen V characters, but of those three, Ryan, the Gen V character, Stan Edgar, who's most likely to show up this next episode?
And I have to go with the Gen V characters, man. I wouldn't think they'd save them for the last fucking episode, but it's getting pretty close. So, I mean,
Yeah, the penultimate episode does feel like, from a writing standpoint, very correct. Did Jamie G, are you riding that same train? Is it the Gen V characters? Is it Ryan, Stan Edgar? Who's most likely to show up next time?
I think we're getting Gen V and Ryan.
I'm saying all three. I mean, I think
There you go.
batten down the hatches here. We're going big or going home. And as far as Butcher's head, Soup, who do you think we're going to see first? Do we see Becca? Do we see Kessler? Do we see neither? Like, is that just done? Like, they're not going to go back to the idea that he has these people in his head.
yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the contrast between what Homelander sees with Stillwell and what Butcher sees with, you know, what is fucking the angel and devil shit that he has there.
Yeah, right, with Becca and Kessler, because we kind of saw that back in season 4 when Samir saw that, like when they finally cut to him watching Butcher talk, and we saw that a little bit with the legend in this episode, right? When like Homelander's just praying to Stillwell, I guess we should assume. We thought maybe the old father had something to do with it, but given how far off he is, I think Homelander is actually just hallucinating this shit, which actually makes him more scary, in my opinion.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I would like to see both those characters back. As I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to go with yes. We do see Kessler and Becca there on his
The angel and the devil, like one last
even if it's his final fucking moment, like whatever. I do think we see that.
Jamie G, welcome to the death pool. Who is the next main cast member to die?
I gotta go with the Deep here. It's just been set up. I think the next episode is his time here. I'm going Deep.
Ooh, interesting. I am going to go with Oh Father. I'm going with Oh Father getting taken off the board fairly quickly here. Soup, how about yourself? Next main cast member to die.
I mean, part of me wants to say Homelander because maybe V1 was actually poison, but you know
can
what?
do
Fuck it.
that.
I'm going with that. I'm going with it.
Nice. All right. That's bold. I love it. And one more here. Who is the next member or first member, I guess I should say, of the boys to die? Or will none die? Jamie G, of the boys here, like, who's dying first? Will none of them die? What are you thinking?
Oh man, it's tough. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna. I mean, I guess I'll go Butcher just to play it safe there.
Interesting. Soup, what do you think? Next first member of the boys to die.
I'm going to have to think it's M, probably. I think MM's the one.
I'm going to go with you on MM. That kills me, but my guess is if they do it right, it'll kill all of us. And this is where we are, man. There's only 2 episodes of The Boys left. Yes, there will be the Vought Rising. We'll be looking forward to that, but man, oh man, can't express how much I'm looking forward to these final 2 episodes. And they don't have to be perfect. They just got to be good. And I have faith. I started out like, I was at about a 5, then a 6 of them landed the plane, up to a 7.5 here. I'm feeling confident. The plane is coming down. Wheels are coming down. We're touching down. We're landing it well.
Thank you guys for checking out another episode here of Compound B. We love talking about the boys, and we couldn't do it without you. So we appreciate it. And let us know what you're thinking. You got something that we missed, you like something we didn't or did. Drop a comment wherever you watched or listened to this, or you can hit us up on our social media. Let us know some predictions that you got. Love to hear them. We only got 2 left. Let's have some fun with this. Mills will let you know where you can find all of our stuff.
You are appreciated, dear mama. We are recording this on Mother's Day. Shout out all the mothers everywhere. We appreciate y'all. And we appreciate you checking out this episode of Compound B, a show about the boys. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Find our content wherever you get your pods and on YouTube, on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff, and on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Very simple, very easy to remember, just like those flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please remember to press the thumb. And before we get out of here, we have one last order of business. The Soupdeucer must tell you for this episode what the B in Compound B stands for. Soup, take it away.
The B in Compound B has to stand for something, man, and it always does stand for something. Right now, it stands for beware, but not just beware. Beware of balls, man. Not chopper sick balls, but beware of balls. Definitely beware, because Homelander might have the V1, and apparently people can use their balls for weapons. So, keep on the lookout, man. Pay attention to the signs.
I gave you fair warning. Beware, beware, beware. I gave you fair warning, beware, beware.
What you thought punk shit was sweet, now you can't sleep. Gotta keep your eyes open wide and hide your face from